how's it going, everybody? Here we are again. Speaking of Harmony podcast, this is episode 3. We're doing one every day, hopefully, especially in these quarantine times. It's possible that I'm able to do that every day. I was just playing this morning again, as I'm usually doing, and just thought of something to share with you guys today, which is something that I use all the time. Most of what I'm going to talk about is stuff that I use. I'm just not coming up with stuff to talk about. Everything that I will be talking about on this podcast is just things that I actually do and put into practice, right? But before I say that, I would really appreciate if you guys subscribe to the channel on YouTube. If you haven't done it yet, please subscribe to the channel, activate the little bell thing, the notifications. All my social media stuff is over here. It will really help if you can be a subscriber and just check it out whenever I put a new video, and share the video and tell everybody about it. It will really help a lot. And for you guys who are listening, we are on Spotify, we are on iTunes, we're everywhere where there is a audio podcast format. So I hope you guys are also enjoying that and put on a playlist, and I'll be adding more and more episodes as we go. So back to whatever I was talking. This thing I was playing in the beginning, did you guys notice what harmony was I playing? Was Stella by Starlight, the famous Stella by Starlight. And of course I was doing some kind of samba groove and all that. But the thing that I was paying attention to and sort of applying, something that I use all the time, and that's what I'm about to share with you guys today, is this little gesture, this harmonic gesture, basically. This little chromatic sort of gesture, with a grace note. And I was asking around sometimes, to friends, like what that is, in terms of if there's a name for it, but everybody always says to me, oh, that's the Herbie thing. The Herbie thing is the great Herbie Hancock, right? Because he's one of the guys that really apply that kind of routine, that kind of gesture. And other pianists and musicians, they all, a bunch of them do that as well. Like cats like Robert Glasper, people like that, they're always using this kind of gesture, basically. So basically what I'm talking about is just like a little chromaticism movement that kind of resolves into the chord they actually want to resolve, right? So let's say if I'm playing Stella, right? So then I'm going here to F7. So before I land in that chord, I'll do a little chromatic movement, little chromatic gesture going, and usually a sus chord kind of thing with the fourth, suspended fourth, right? In this case, I'm using the 13 as well. So before I land on F, I'm actually gonna go up a half step and resolve to the chord that I actually want to resolve. But I'm not playing F first. I'm just landing the G flat or F sharp, however you want to call it, and then landing there. So I'm doing, right? It's a really small gesture, but it's really effective, and especially on piano, man, it's so great. And the Herbie thing, as people say, is that when Herbie does that, he always uses a grace note, this kind of thing. So he uses that as well when he plays on the piano. So it just really even more hip, when he does it. So something like, so this kind of thing. I love that sound, and I keep hearing that, and everywhere I listen, especially in Herbie stuff and Robert Glasper and these piano cats, like they're, kind of like jazz and R&B and USO and this kind of stuff. Like it's really inside that language. But as always, for me, I always want to take stuff and bring it to my universe, right? I was always looking for opportunities to use that, but in the context of whatever music I'm doing. And I have been using this for a while, though. On guitar, it's not as effective as the piano on the when it lands really well on the piano, right? And guitar, you have to kind of pick the right places to do it. But I have been, mildly successful when I'm applying that. And I was using that early today in Stella, and thought that was it's going to be a good thing to talk about today. So I was using everywhere on this example, right? Because I was doing, So we in C minor, we gotta go to F7, right? So I did F sus, but I landed, first I did the chromatic thing, the G flat sus or F sharp sus, but I did the grace note. I did the Herbie thing, right? So I did, So it sounds like this. Right? And then instead of doing F minor and B flat 7 as the original harmony goes, right? Going to E flat major. So I did a B flat sus, right? 13. Instead of doing the 2-5 to E flat, I did just a 5 to E flat, right? So I did B flat sus with a bunch of stuff like 13, all that. But I did the chromatic thing too. So I did B natural and B flat. So like a chain, of these movements, so this gesture. So I did see? Woo! And then instead of doing B flat and then resolving, I did E alter. In this case, it'd be like the substitute dominant, right? A B flat going to this, and then one more. Instead of doing A flat 7 like the song, and then B flat over F, right? So I did a whole chromatic shebang thing over here, just to use that gesture, because why not, right? So I did. Kind of an F sus before I resolve into B flat over F, right? So I did this whole chromatic thing. I did. So it's all the sus kind of sound with the gesture, with the grace note is very important too. Flang, flang. That's that's the meat, of the thing. That's what Herbie does, like that. Awesome, like chromatic gesture with the grace note is like, and then when you're playing grooves like this R&B stuff, and you saw stuff that Glasper does and all these guys, which has that kind of quality of the kind of super behind, that is even more hip when you do that, because you can kind of use that that interplay of the rhythm of the behind the beat type of vibe with that. It's really, really effective. So if I would play that same, song with that vibe, it would be something like this. I'll try. Let's see. Something like that, right? So this it's a very, very simple tip, but it's just so effective, so effective. It's just so hip. I love using that language, and primarily I got that from Herbie, especially with the grace notes and stuff like that. But others do that as well, and really well. Few guitarists use that, but the cool thing about that is that the piano has that advantage, because you're playing this line, the piano has the quality of harmonize whatever you're doing with your right hand, right? The guitar is kind of limited in that sense. I'm like, man, I wish I could, have that same facility that the piano offers, basically, right? When you can still kind of with your line and you just harmonize, and that's when that grace note and chromatic thing really falls, like, just lands like so hip. And I play a little bit of that, so you saw. I try to do that with the guitar, but I kind of have to abandon the line to provide that gesture, right? Like I did before, like a. see I had to abandon the line and just kind of like imply that movement to make it sound, to make that statement. Piano is easier to do that, but you can see that I can do the guitar as well. So, that's kind of what I was playing around today, and I wanted to share that with you guys. That's awesome. So if you use that in different ways, let me know in the comments. I would love to hear what you guys doing with that type of language, and what kind of musicians you know or you aware that also use that same kind of chromatic gesture with the grace notes and stuff that people call the Herbie thing, right? So I'll come back to my practice over here, and I hope you guys have fun. Let me know in the comments. I'm really enjoying doing that. This podcast, the feedback has been awesome, been amazing, and I'll keep doing that, and keep coming, the suggestions and stuff. I'd love to keep talking about stuff, and let me know in the comments what you think. If you have any questions about that, I would love to answer some of those. And if you listen to it, keep plugging in, and there's more to come. So thank you very much, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.